Curtis Givens is in the transfer portal. He was once a very, very big member of the Montverde squad in high school that went undefeated in 23-24. Former top 50 recruit, four-star, had a lot of hype to him out of high school. And then he went to LSU, and not a ton happened in his 1 year at LSU. Only played 18 minutes a game, started 12 of 32 games, averaged 4.8 points a game, shot 26% from the floor, 24% from three. Just quite frankly, not good enough. But he's a 6'3", 185-pound guard that projected as a huge shooter because in high school he was a 45% shooter from three. For whatever reason, that just did not translate last year at LSU. We've got some updates on his recruitment. Per Greenlight Media, Curtis Givens has been hearing from the following schools: BYU, Villanova, USC, Memphis, Miami, Ole Miss, Maryland, Iowa, Georgia, Wake Forest, West Virginia, Texas A&M. Your Mountaineers are on the list, but I don't know. Interesting list for a former really prestigious recruit. Let's start with his game. Do you buy that there's a good player in Curtis Givens still?
To be honest, I'm not too familiar with like his high school profile. Based upon what I saw at LSU, I would say not really. So when you mention him being a shooter, I can understand you have a dip in 3-point percentage. Like if he shot 25% from three, but 45% in high school, I can live with that if you shot free throws at a high level. He was a 59% free throw shooter at LSU. That's an issue to me more than anything. Granted, he only had 44 attempts, but at the same time, to only make 26 of those, I think is a problem. I will say this, if he came to West Virginia, I would completely switch my narrative, by the way, just immediately turn everything around. I'm just glad we're on a list. But I think he's the type of guy that like when people say, and I mean this like respectfully to him, but like this is the portal versus no portal stuff. Like, what are you running from? As a freshman, when you had this level of production, to still play in 32 games, to still get 18 minutes a game when you aren't producing, I think you got plenty of opportunity at LSU. Like, I think he's the type of guy that should stick around based upon what happened and shouldn't be upset with like how the year went. I don't know what type of promises he had going into the year. Maybe it was promised 30 minutes a game and didn't receive that. And maybe there was like some NIL situation he's upset about. But I think on paper, from what I can tell, given he shot 26% from the field, 24% from three, 59% from the free throw line, for that coaching staff not to give up on him, I think it's a little weird he gave up on them.
Yeah, you never know. Like, we don't know the backstory on how this transpired. Maybe it was just like, hey, we're recruiting over you, but we still want you. Or maybe, I don't know, Curtis left in the middle of the night. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with LSU. I will say I watched LSU a good enough amount this year. I rarely noticed Curtis Givens. And when I did notice Curtis Givens, I was like, oh, that's the kid who was really good in high school. And then I was like, oh, he's struggling. That was pretty much always my interpretation as I watched this play out. Like he was really bad in his 1 year at LSU, and sometimes kids just don't translate. And that's the weird part is he was on Montverde, the winningest high school program basically that there is, giving them great minutes, making shots. I remember watching him in high school. He was like so confident. He was just like a sharpshooting sniper that I was like, no doubt this translates. Just didn't translate at LSU. Now he didn't play with a lot of great players around him. I'm sure like as a catch and shoot guy on an LSU team that went 14 and 18, 3 and 15 in SEC play, and was surrounded by three guards that none of them totaled more than 2.5 assists a game. Like it wasn't exactly a great roster build for a kid of his caliber. So I think a fresh start is needed. This is a good development for all parties involved. The interesting thing to me is looking at this list. This video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. We have a special offer for you. Use promo code SLEEPERS, place a deposit, and Underdog will match your deposit as a first-time user up to $1,000 in bonus credits with a 50% deposit match. And they're giving you a free pick for the next 48 hours. And Dion, I know it has your attention.
It's Steph Curry to score 1 point in game six, an elimination game at the crib. That's what we do. We've been beating the Rockets for a decade. Night, night.
1 point from Steph Curry, you win your free pick. Promo code SLEEPERS. Make sure you don't miss out. Let's get back to the video. like number one, let's just start with this. The first school I mentioned, BYU calling him, presumably BYU still being listed after they just added Kennard Davis. Kennard Davis is their shooting guard. He's a much more polished veteran player that's going to give you way more than Curtis Givens is. BYU still has scholarships open. So I don't know. It's interesting. We've heard that BYU could be star hunting. BYU wanting to spend a scholarship on sort of a lottery ticket guy you might have believed in high school that just wasn't good last year is interesting to me. Do you believe that BYU should be wanting to bring in Curtis Givens to what they've already built?
Um, if he's willing to accept a role that he develops into, yes. I think he could be, if he's like, hey, I'm going to be around for a couple of years, maybe, and like I don't have to fully play right away. I'm not looking to get to the NBA next year. Like I understand what happened last year. I have to grow. I would say yes. I think if you're BYU, you have to take a chance on guys like that because at the top half of your roster, you're going to be spending on like one and done type of guy. So I think you need to fill in the back half of the roster with somebody like a Curtis Givens who has high upside.
Yeah, it can work. If it's a depth ad, it would be one of the more higher upside options for that. So I don't hate it. I was just surprised to see BYU on the list after they added Davis. It's like, you kind of got your shooting guard. What are we doing here? The other thing that's funny for me about this list, the rest of this list, I feel like I've seen this exact list for every other former top 100 recruit that's still in the portal right now. Like this is basically the full list of schools plus BYU that missed on most of their primary targets and still has some money to spend. Right? Like that's Maryland, that's Memphis, that's Miami, that's Villanova, that's USC. That these are all the schools going head to head for like everybody that's still left in the portal, you know?
I was going to ask, did Gibbons and Debanta play together? Because wasn't Debanta at Montverde for a year?
I don't think so.
Was he not?
I don't think so, but I could
I
be
might have
wrong.
got that mixed up. If I did, that's on me.
I could be wrong. If he was, I totally missed this.
I might be thinking of Cooper Flag.
Flag was at Montverde.
I think I'm thinking of Flag. I think I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, Flag was at Montverde. Um, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Any want to call your shot here? Your school's on the list. Anywhere you think he will actually commit to?
I think Maryland provides the best of both worlds. I think West Virginia, respectfully, we provide nothing to anybody. If you want to graduate quickly, they do a great job of getting you in classes, though. Shout out to them. I was out of my master's program in 2 years, special. But I think outside of that, I don't think this West Virginia team provides much of what Curtis Givens is looking for. Um, According to Bart Torvik, West Virginia also has one of the more productive transfer classes and one of the older groups. So I'm not sure it's even a rotation he can crack necessarily. Maryland, I think, provides a rotation he can crack, while also Buzz Williams, who's a coach, I do believe can develop players. BYU, I think, is a rotation that's harder to crack than Maryland. If he goes to BYU, I think Curtis Givens is maybe admitting some faults in what happened at LSU and knows he needs a restart in a developmental situation, which I would be okay with. But I think Maryland provides the best of both worlds.
I wouldn't hate Maryland. I'm actually going to make a different pitch, a tweak on your Maryland pitch. I think he should go to Villanova under Kevin Willard because he reminds me of Rodney Rice. Rodney Rice was a big time shooter that had a rough start to his college career. People kind of gave up on him. He ends up under Kevin Willard, who believed in him, said, "You're my starting shooting guard. Just hunt your shot. Be confident. Play off of this point guard that's really good." Rodney Rice looks incredible. Now he's making $3 million for Eric Musselman. Curtis Givens being the shooting guard to a Caden Lewis for Villanova, I think is a role that could work as long as he makes shots, and it's there for the taking right now. So we shall see. It will be interesting to see where Givens goes and how much money BYU offers for this kid, to be honest.